don't. UFOs are weird. I have no idea where I stand on those. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I kind of want to believe they're true, but I know they're not. So.
Right. So there's the latest conspiracy theory is that coronavirus is linked to 5G.
Wait, 5G?
Yeah. Like the phone, like, how we went from 3G to 4G, our cell phone, and now they have the 5G.
Okay.
Yeah, they're saying that it's linked to that. And and John Cusack is one actor who has jumped on this conspiracy.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I thought, I don't know. I guess I really, don't want to. All right, here's another thing that's been driving me nuts. How many of these famous people are you sick of seeing get on Instagram Live and cry about how horrible their life is during quarantine while they're in their McMansions?
I mean, I haven't really seen any, but I believe.
Okay, well, Ellen DeGeneres, who people think she's a national treasure. Okay,
I mean, she's pretty great, but I'm sure she's done something.
So she's being blasted because she has been doing like these shows at home now from her house. Obviously, she's trying to the night shows are too now. Kimmel, they're all doing them from home. So, but she was going on and on about, how horrible how horrible it is to be in quarantine. And, she's been wearing the same clothes for 10 days and just going on and on. But people are pissed because she's in probably $30,000 house, all the room in the world. And yeah, so they're really coming. She's one of them that they're really coming for. But yeah, I just happened to catch that people are not happy with Ellen, which to me is a little strange because I thought everybody loved Ellen, but I guess not. Okay, are you ready for this one?
Yeah.
Somebody in the UK had twins during this pandemic, and they named their twin babies Corona and COVID.
Yeah, I did hear of that.
So.
Oh, geez, they're never gonna live that down ever.
Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna get picked on so hard.
And these people gave the most ridiculous reasoning. Now when my children are grown, people will never forget the coronavirus. They'll always be there to remind everybody about this, terrible time. I'm like, what?
That's like naming kids born after 9/11 jet fuel and steel.
Yeah. Jet and fuel. That's really bad.
Yeah, it could happen. I'm sure some people do.
God. This is a bit you could do. Only you could get away with something like that. But yeah, you can say you named her twins Corona and COVID. That'd be like naming your twins jet and fuel after 9/11. Oh my God, my eyes are watering. I can just see you on stage doing that joke. It's like so. But yeah, so I just thought that was, pretty ridiculous.
That was ridiculous.
Have you been to the grocery store at all during any of this?
Yeah, I went twice just to pick up meds and whatever.
Yeah, so you notice how a lot of the beginning, the shelves were completely wiped out.
Yeah.
With certain things. Well, what is that, Wegmans? And I was going up and down the aisles, I don't know, right after, and it was the Wegmans in Webster where I swear every single person out there decided they needed to hoard everything they could get their little grubby hands on.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I'm going to tell you, the vegan aisle, full.
Oh, wait, you mean full of people?
No, full of, nobody took anything.
That's hilarious.
That shit was just sitting on the shelf, right? So somebody had made a list of all the most ridiculous things, things that were still left on the shelf. And my favorite was all the water was wiped out, and there was like 5 cases of Dasani, and they're like, not even apocalypse, no one's drinking this shit. You know, and I was cracking up because I hate Dasani water. You might as well just pour water from your tap. It tastes the same.
Does it?
To me, it does, and I'm a water snob.
A water snob.
I am, I know. So the chickpea noodles, apparently you could get tons of those on the shelf. Spaghetti made out of chickpeas. Nobody wants that shit.
Ew, yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Yeah. Raisin Bran, shredded wheat, and Special K. Those were all left. The pizza aisle, you know, the frozen pizzas.
Yeah.
The only pizza left at Trader Joe's was frozen kale pizza.
Ew, why would you? No.
That's why it's there. Nobody wants that.
Why would you even produce such a thing?
So they were saying people are more afraid of any food labeled veggie during a quarantine in a pandemic. Nobody wants anything made with the word veggie. So veggie pasta, kale pizza. All the dry pasta was gone except for angel hair. Apparently, this is the time you see people don't like shit. People don't want angel hair pasta.
Why? What?
Yeah. And this one girl who's a vegan said that everything I eat was on the shelves. All my gluten-free, no sugar, and, stuff that was all very easy to find. But in the Easter candy aisle, they had Peeps left on the shelf that were hot tamale Peeps.
Ew. Why?
Hot tamale. Now, if you go to the wipes, which I noticed at Wegmans, okay, your baby wipe, your Huggies, all of those were gone. But these bizarre dude wipes, they're called. I don't know what they're for, but you can find dude wipes. They're manly wipes for your butt.
Oh, my God.
Those were still on the shelf. Nobody wants that shit. No one wanted Manhattan clam chowder canned in New England. The shelf still had tons of Manhattan clam chowder. Let's see. Frozen Hawaiian pizza, which is kind of weird because we sell a lot of pineapple pizza, but apparently that was really is one of the things that you could still find was pineapple pizza. The list goes on. So I thought that was funny, and I did notice a lot of bizarre things happening with the food being left over. A massive shipment of toilet paper that was on its way to New York City. The truck wiped out and it caught on fire. So So there went a lot of toilet paper. You know, another thing that I find really incredibly bizarre is what's with these churches insisting on having people, there was this one church in Louisiana where this guy, the guy that runs it, was driving around and picking people up off the streets and bringing them into his church. He ended up having over 1,200 people going there during this pandemic. And I was like, all right, is he just looking for, they're looking for donation. You know what I mean? A lot of these churches, they're not practicing right now, so they're not getting their money in the basket. Yeah. But it turns out after further investigation, it was one of those churches where they put their hands on you and they heal you.
Oh, boy.
You ever seen that? And they talk in tongues and the people fall out. Yeah, so that was the kind of church. And I think he legitimately thought like he was, getting rid of the virus by doing this. But a lot of churches have been getting caught still.
Yeah.
That's
about right.
And so in Louisiana there, New Orleans has got a big problem right now.
With doing that?
Well, no, with the coronavirus though. They still had, remember Mardi Gras when that went on? It was like right before.
Right before all this?
Right before they started like really talking about the coronavirus. Well, people knew, but I think a lot of people there got because the Mardi Gras and the St. Patrick's Day parade, they had all of that. So I think like now you're just seeing how many people are sick there. And I have a friend who lives there. Her father has it, but he's recovering. But I couldn't believe when she was telling me the number of people in New Orleans that have it. And she was like, they still had St. Patrick's Day. They still, so people were just
so much worse.
Yeah. People were just, crowding in there. Have you watched The Tiger King?
I watched the whole thing. I love it. It's so dumb.
It's
just, oh my God. You gotta appreciate it for what it is. You can't take it too seriously, but at the same time, it's like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever seen.
So I was talking to a friend of mine. I was Zooming the other last week, and she lives in Florida. And she was like, the most ridiculous thing that I've done while quarantined is watch The Tiger King. Like, I couldn't even believe she goes, I could barely get through 3 episodes. And I was like, you are a monster. How can you not watch that and be completely entertained? She said, she goes, you don't live in Florida. This is the people I'm surrounded by. These are nothing new to me.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I'm in upstate New York, so I'm sure there's some Joe Exotics floating around over in the 315 areas over here too,
Well, maybe, but the further south you go, the crazier people get because heat makes people crazy.
Is that what you think it is, the heat?
There is like an increase in crime in hotter weather. It's weird.
Yeah, well, true. Very true. But I will tell you, since I'm constantly like reading and pulling stupid news all week, if I see something, I'll save it. And some of the craziest shit comes out of Florida.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Classic Florida man and all that.
Right. And I'm going to tell you, you don't want to play with that meth.
No.
I think, and they do the bath salts.
Yeah, that happened in 2012. I don't know if you remember that. The guy was tearing at a homeless dude's face, so they had to shoot and kill him.
Yeah, but I like, if you go, it's a hole I've fallen in now. I have looked up people on bath salts, or I don't know what else there's another name for it that they say down there. I don't say bath salts, but
say something else.
I've looked it up, and I've like watched people like take video of people like in Wegmans and not Wegmans, I'm sorry, whatever their grocery stores or whatever, and they have like these really bizarre body movements, and they roll around on the ground, and it is like something, so they have some pretty, some crazy drugs. And, I do have a very, very unpopular opinion right now.
What?
But I know that they said the stimulus checks are coming.
Yeah.
And, my fear is once these checks do come, like how many people are going to be overdosing on like some heroin after they get these checks?
Probably a lot, unfortunately.
And I was like, they need to be like sending out like the extra Narcan. Like it's not going to be
smarter. Yeah.
It's not going to be good though. But I was like, man, at a time right now when I think a lot of people that have addiction issues like are falling off of even drinking or whatnot, and then if they don't have the money, then they do get their check and they're already teetering and they have that extra money. I see it not good things.
No, probably not. It's a little frightening.
But I did talk to a couple of people who work in the emergency rooms, and this was prior to like before the shit really hit the fan. But my one friend was like, man, you can hear a pin drop in the emergency room right now. She said, nobody's coming in. They don't care. No one's showing up at the hospital. Nobody wants, she goes, we don't even have any drug addicts showing up. Like, she's like, usually the emergency room, there will be like a handful of people that are med seeking, or they're like the drug addicts are even like laying low and not coming around. I'm like, oh my God.
There must be withdrawing like crazy.
Or they're just using and not like showing up, into the emergency rooms. But I'll tell you, my daughter cut her finger last week.